Viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast, it's all about the Champions League. It's all about the EPL. Much to discuss, much to dissect, much to break down. Now, joining me this evening to talk some football, we have returning to the podcast, Christophe.
Good to be back, viewers.
Christophe, it has been a festival of football in recent time, in recent weeks. Champions League, we were treated to two big matches. Let's jump right in right there. Bayern Munich, Christoph versus PSG. PSG running away 5-4 winners. What can we say? Has that been the best game of football you've seen in your lifetime?
No, doubtful. I
Mm.
don't think so. Um, Last year the Barcelona versus Inter game was very good as well, especially with Inter hitting that late winner. That was very good. But from a coaching point of view, I think it was a horrible game.
You're saying too many goals went in.
If I was the defensive coach, if I tell you what, Vincent Company would probably take a 1-1 draw over losing 5-1, over
Oh, you mean
5-4.
loading 5-4? For
5-4.
sure. But I
Horrible.
also feel that PSG let it slip as well. I mean, having Bayern 5-2 down at one point to let them come back and go 5-4 with all to play for now in the second leg. I thought that was a let off. So it's going to be interesting the second leg for sure, but definitely one of the game for the ages and some brilliant goals as well, Christoph. I mean, the standout for me, the pick of the bunch for me was that Luis Diaz goal. The control, the body shake, the shot. Sublime skills, technically excellent goal right there. But that was the pick of the goals for me. Was there any standout for you?
Um, I guess aside from the penalties, I think all the goals were relatively good to me. I think they were all really good goals, really well worked. But like I said, all the goals aside from the penalties and even the manner in which the penalties were given are a cause for concern for both sets of defenders and defensive coaches. Very concerning.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. But I mean, this is the nature of the two teams, Christoph. They are attacking teams. They don't go to park any bus or to set up any low block. These teams are there to attack, 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 attack. So to me, it's the best attack that will win.
To be fair, I thought the game should have probably ended 4-4. I don't think that PSG penalty was earned, but you could at least say the referees were consistent over the two legs in giving those types of penalties. So um, I don't know what they expect the player to do. The ball deflected off the player and onto the hand. And, it could move. It was extending it to block the ball. In either case, in the case of Ben White or in the case of was it Alfonso Davis, I don't think. If I was the referee, I would not have given the penalty for either of those.
Right, right,
But
right.
I hear the reasoning. I hear what they said, but they're saying that the hands were not in natural positions. But for me, regardless of natural position, the players weren't making themselves bigger to try and block the ball. And in both cases, the ball deflected off of the player onto the hand. So for me, I don't think that's a penalty, but
Well, as
look,
you said, the important thing is that consistency was maintained over
right.
both legs, so to
Yeah.
speak. You're talking about the PSG game and the Arsenal game, Arsenal
Right.
versus Atletico.
At least they were consistent over both games because obviously there would be a question marks if the PSG one was given and then the Arsenal one was given. I mean, in the Arsenal game, though, there was a clear and obvious error. I don't know who made the error, if it was the referee or the VAR. Referee got the on-field decision right, penalty for the challenge on Eze, only for the VAR to review and ask him to go to the screen. Why? I don't know. The
Well, it's
referee
not the
went there.
VAR. Well, the referee was referred to the screen.
Right, but the
He
referee,
having seen the replay now, he changed his mind as to this decision. So I'm not gonna say it's the VAR that made that decision. It's the ref.
He
It's the man who
he
made the call in the middle, looked
he
at the
changed.
replays and decided that, hey, I made an error.
He looked at the replay for a long while and changed the right decision to the wrong one.
Many will disagree. I thought even if it was given, it would have been a rather soft call. In all honesty.
Even if I say it was a soft call, you could argue that the penalty that they gave for Gyökeres was also soft. But again, yeah, you're going to have to be consistent. If the foul on Gyökeres, or if the contact on Gyökeres was a foul, this was in my opinion worse than the Gyökeres because this was studs on the player, so definitely a foul.
But as it relates to both legs going forward, though, Christoph, what's the call? What's the early call? Who do you think will qualify from the Bayern Munich PSG game?
Um, Despite PSG going into this as the leaders, leading 1-0, so to speak,
Right.
they really have themselves at a disadvantage, having gone, like I said, 5 up, only to allow Bayern to kind of get back into it. And it kind of puts them at a bit of a disadvantage to go to the Allianz with such a slim margin, right? All advantage to PSG. You have won the first leg, so you are in charge. You could potentially counter attack and win this game. Don't know if they're going to do that or not, but you're going to the Alliance with a very, very slim margin, but you have the advantage at halftime, essentially.
Yeah, but what's the call? That being said, the table being set.
I'm going to
What's the call? Who
I,
advances?
I'm going to go with Bayern Munich to advance.
Bayern Munich to advance. Bold call there. I'm gonna stick to my guns and call it for PSG, So we'll definitely see. But for sure, that transitional play will definitely come into effect. The counter attack, which we've seen PSG scored a number of goals on. So Bayern Munich will definitely have to be careful with that transitional play. But to me, it can go either way. Any one of those teams can really come through and take that tie. But so it should be another very interesting game, another very entertaining game, I would say. Tactics through the window and just allow the players to settle it on the field. But it's a contrast in terms of playing style, Christoph. Over there at Arsenal, Arsenal now returns to London. What is the call in that one? Can Arsenal be decisive and take that tie, make it to another final, or will it be Atletico, who, led by Alvarez, comes back into this one?
Well, Arsenal kind of took the lead in that game only to give up a penalty. Again, in my opinion, neither the Alphonso Davies or the Ben White were penalties to me. Um, but it's gone. Very different matchup. Well, are very similar depending on how you look at it. Um, Atletico Madrid extremely good at defending, but after they made some switches in the second half, they really turned the pressure up on Arsenal, which kind of led to them getting that penalty. Uh, Unfortunately for them, they could not make that pressure pay. Arsenal looked more dangerous the first, 25 minutes of that game, in my opinion. And that's the sort of play that you'd want them to do for the entire of the game. But after they went up, they came out second half, and for some reason the intensity had dropped, and
Fatigue,
they
fatigue,
were
tired legs, man.
yeah.
The lack of rotation of the
I
squad coming
was
back to bite Arsenal right now.
Well, I was going to get to that the lack of rotation, especially in the midfield, both Rice and Zubamendi looking, extremely tired. I I don't know Mikel Arteta all season the reluctance to rotate, even against last place teams, you refuse to rotate one or two of these players, and you could still keep them on the bench if things are not going right.
Or at least some early substitutions as well. At
Our
least,
early
take them off
substitution,
at 60.
it but as I've said, if failure to win any silverware, while the players still have to go out and do the work, the manager has not put the players in the best position to exactly win these games. And with the attack faltering for Arsenal at the moment, they're not able to string together passes together. No chemistry in the attack at the moment. So it you could say the reverse fixture when they played at the Emirates in October, Arsenal basically shredded Atletico Madrid because there was a lot of chemistry. Legs were fresh, players were up and going. Now it looks like a very close tight match. 1-1 draw. You could say Atletico might be the happier of the two not to have lost at home, given that they went down. But now they have to travel to England, to Arsenal, to try and get a result, given that um, Arsenal has had the most miserly defense in the Champions League, and they've shown that they will go and do a professional job, take a draw at your home, only to go back to the Emirates and win. So it's a lot of work for both teams, probably more work for Atletico.
So that being said, Christoph, all of that being said, the table now set. Who
I
goes
think
on to the finals?
I think it can go either way at the moment.
So you're not calling it at the moment then?
I don't have a no, I don't have a call for it at the moment.
Wow.
It's a game. It is a
That
game
that
that is
goes that go
poised
that
to
that
go
doesn't
either
show
way.
that you have much confidence in Arsenal as a fan,
No,
Christoph.
but I
I
haven't
mean,
had
your confidence has seriously dropped off throughout the season.
yeah, but I've made comments here and there all throughout the season saying this needs to change, that needs to change.
So you're not
None of
pleased then.
none of what I have said needs to change, has happened. So yeah, again, I think Arsenal
But I
at the
mean, so
moment
a year ago though, Christoph, all you said was missing from the Arsenal camp was a big number nine. Now you have a big number nine.
we talk about this every week, and I don't want to talk about it after this week. Yes, Arsenal wins. They bought the 9, right?
Right. That was the missing link.
Arsenal obviously did not want to change the entire play style for one player. That's fine. The player has now adapted to your play style, but you have not done anything to aid the player. So
Mm.
you are
So is it a case where the wrong purchase was made or the wrong playing style is now being implemented?
I don't think Victor Gyökeres is a wrong purchase. He
Mm.
has scored what 20 goals in all competitions for
But
Arsenal,
he
and
seemed to be left on the bench for the big matches.
mm,
What's the rationale for that then? I mean,
what big
yeah,
matches was
like
he left on the
versus
bench
Man
for?
City, for example, the
He was
big match, the
so
EPL Cup,
so one
and
game.
he was benched in the big games. No, not just one
So
game, the
which
big
other
games,
game?
the
What
Liverpool.
what
I
other
mean,
games?
at some
You,
point,
when was he benched against Liverpool? I
wait
don't
now, wait
recall
now,
him being
hold
benched
on,
against
hold on, hold
Liverpool.
on. Remember, Havertz was out for the earlier part of the season, so you had no choice but to play him. Now that you have options to choose from, he's been benched for the biggest matches in the season. The
Gabriel,
only
Gabriel,
reason he started versus Atletico is because Havertz is out injured again. I am sure if both
Gabriel,
strikers were available, Havertz
Gabriel,
would have been the first choice.
Gabriel Jesus has been available for weeks and it's
No,
not
man, we're
started.
not talking about Jesus. We know Jesus is way down in the pecking order.
Okay. I think what Mikel Arteta has done is that he has reverted to something familiar that he understands.
Yeah, but why go out and spend big on a big nine and then you're not
I
using him?
I
That
don't
doesn't
know
make
why he.
sense.
I do not know why he did that. It's ridiculous to me. As I have said, Victor
Ah,
Yekers, 20 goals in our competitions, and that is
yeah,
without
but he's
getting
playing
any.
against minnows. He's getting goals versus the lesser teams. He's not getting
That
any goals
that
versus
that is
formidable opponents.
indeed when he plays at Man City, when he plays at Liverpool, when he plays he
Yeah,
scored
he's
against
not getting
Chelsea.
on the score sheet in those games. He's
It
been
it, it,
substituted
it
early.
is it is irrelevant that he's not getting on the score sheet. Yes, he did not score. Why did he not score? Because no balls were played to him.
Hmm. Well, that's a
How
debate
are
for
you?
another time, though,
How are
Christoph.
you?
That's a debate for another time.
How is a striker going to score when nothing is played to him?
Ah, indeed, indeed. Supply and
Oh,
demand are cutting out the
turn,
supply. But we have to discuss that
turn of the
another
year.
time. We'll
Turn of the
discuss it
year.
another time.
Erling Haaland scored nothing from what December until March, right? Why? Because nothing was
Mm,
played to him.
we'll discuss it another time, Christoph. We have to push forward because there are a number of big matches coming up on the weekend. That was midweek, that was Wednesday, that was Tuesday. Uh, so as you mentioned, PSG goes into the second leg with a 1 nil advantage. And of course, it's all square over there at the Emirates come Arsenal versus Atletico. But the EPL continues, and there are a number of games and a number of big 3 points on the line, especially at the top of the table and also in the relegation zone. But for sure, the biggest game of this weekend has to be Manchester United versus Liverpool. Two teams which are pretty much pushing for Champions League qualification come next season. Man U ahead of Liverpool in the table, also playing at home, but big rival, probably the biggest rival in English football at the moment, Christoph. So all eyes will be on this game just for the bragging rights alone. Talk to us. Who comes out the winner in this one? Can Manchester United continue their hot streak under Carrick? Or will Slot put a spanner in the works? What says you?
Um, I really haven't seen anything from Liverpool that would convince me that they're capable of beating or from Slot to tell me that they're capable of beating United. I think United are more likely to shoot themselves in the foot and lose than Liverpool outplaying them at the
Hmm.
moment.
So in other words, then you would be surprised if Liverpool came away winners in this one.
I would be surprised if Liverpool were convincing winners.
Oh, so you're saying Liverpool may win, but not
Maybe
necessarily
it's
convincing.
yeah, it wouldn't be convincing. It would probably be from Man United being poor, but I think
Mhm.
United probably get come away with the win in this.
But don't you give
2-1.
credit? Don't you give credit to the opponents, though, Christoph? Let's say a team plays poorly, for argument's sake. Don't you credit that poor play to the tactics of the opponent?
It depends. It depends. If all right, this same game, let's say United play poorly, but
Right.
and let's say Casemiro and Bruno play poorly, but let's say they play poorly because they are tired. Do I credit Liverpool with beating
No,
them
but how would you
because
determine that? Why would
we,
a coach play tired players?
we, Mikel Arteta does it week in week out?
Well,
So I'm just saying, if
no,
if
but
uh, if if
I'm saying
players
if the players are tired, wouldn't you utilize your bench to say, all right, let's say, or if players are playing poorly. So in your example, you highlighted Bruno and Casemiro. So let's, for example, say they play the first 45 and Liverpool is overrunning the midfield for argument's sake. Wouldn't it be your prerogative as the coach to make changes at that point? Whether it be tactical or personnel changes. So
that
wouldn't
that
you
that is
credit
what
the
at halftime.
opponent right at halftime or even let's say 10 minutes after halftime in the 55th to 68th minute region? Wouldn't you
Right.
make tactical changes and or personnel changes? And
It depends.
wouldn't you have to credit that to the
Yes.
opponent?
First of all, depends. Yes. Would you give them credit if they're overrunning them in the middle? Fine. But are they overrunning them in the midfield because they're tired or because of the tactics? So you have to determine first, is it the
I
tactics
mean, to me,
or is it
even if players are tired, so let's, for example, say the players are tired. I don't think you're gonna see that fatigue in the first half. You're more likely to see the effect of the tiredness as the game wears on. So in
mm,
the second half, when you should probably be pushing forward, it's more you see the fatigue turning up. So runs are not being made, tracking back is not being made, etc.
mm,
But in the first half, a player, regardless if he's tired coming into the game, quote and unquote, he should be able to give you a decent enough first 45. And I personally would credit the opponent for causing that team to misfire. But I mean, to each his own. But I mean, this is a very interesting game coming up, in all honesty. Both managers somewhat need a win to keep up with the push for Champions League. Slacked in recent time. There was a call for his head. That call seemed to have quelled slightly. But I'm sure if Liverpool was to lose this game and lose this game convincingly, those calls may very well resurface. Man U is at home. I am more leaning towards a Manchester United win as well, Christopher, for the mere fact that they're in better form at home in front of their home fans and probably
But
a little bit more motivated than Liverpool.
the farm is the same for the last five.
The farm is the same.
Farm is the same. Three wins, one loss, one draw. Same for
Wow.
both teams.
Wow. So, oh, wow. Interesting stuff. But I'm gonna still give United the edge with the home advantage. So I'm likely to go 3-1 United. 3-1
Mm.
United. What's your call?
Yeah, I go with Man United to win. I was going to say that 2 or 3-1. So yeah, I think I have the same call as you.
Yeah, I'm still not convinced by the Liverpool defense, in all honesty. Still leaking goals. Whenever Liverpool gets a clean sheet, I'm always surprised because they give away a lot of chances. Of course, they may very well be down to their third string goalkeeper as well. Allison was injured. The backup goalkeeper picked up an injury in the last game, and the third string goalkeeper had to come on as a sub. He may very well get the start in this one, and that may also play into the hands of Manchester United. Inexperienced keeper in a big derby match at Old Trafford. Uh, high intensity, high pressure situation. Hopefully, he doesn't pull a Kinski in this one, Christoph. We saw what happened when an inexperienced goalkeeper is thrown in at the deep end away from home. The pressure can indeed get to you, and mistakes can creep into your game. And oftentimes, when a goalkeeper makes a mistake, it results in a goal. So, I don't see Liverpool keeping a clean sheet in this one at all. I would say probably both teams to score, but Manchester United definitely getting the better of this Liverpool team. But it should be an entertaining game. There should be goals in the game as well. It's just a matter of who will outscore the other as opposed to who will likely defend better. I think it's a game which both teams should go out attacking, and the better attack may come out the victors because I don't believe either team has a rock solid defensive unit. Both teams are likely to give up chances, likely to give up goals. I think the team who takes the greater number of chances or whose attack is firing on all cylinders will get the win in this one. Of course, Salah is out injured, so that also reduces the potency of that Liverpool attack. And it hasn't fired all season. Isak did get a goal in the last game, though, Christoph. Can Isak make a big difference in this one, Christoph, coming off injury and trying to get back into some form before the end of the season?
He could, but it's all a matter of how well he can perform at the moment. We don't know, how close he is to hitting his full form or whatever. Yeah, you score a goal, but that doesn't mean you're in form. Just means you got a goal. Score a goal again. Score a goal again. Isak is very good at dropping and linking play, and is one of the best finishers in the league in terms of technique and movement off the ball. So we'll see. I think he can be dangerous for Liverpool for the remainder of the season, especially with the injury to Ekitike and obviously Salah not firing like he has in previous years.
Yeah, plus I believe Salah also picked up a hamstring injury in the last game as well, so it's
Might be
unlikely
a
he'll feature
might
in
be
this
a
one.
might be a blessing in disguise for Liverpool
Could
for
be a
this
blessing
game.
in disguise. Yeah, for sure. It will give us a glimpse into life without Salah come next season. So, should be an interesting game. But we
Oh well,
also
what
have, yeah,
what I was going to say is you don't have the defensive liability of Salah not tracking back.
To be honest, my opinion on that varies. I'm not sure if Salah is actually a defensive liability, in all honesty. I think in his case, attack is the best defense. So wing backs and wingers, if he's scoring and has that reputation of scoring, then they are unlikely to bomb forward as they would usually do, pretty much keeping an eye on Salah. So I don't buy into that narrative in all honesty, Christopher. Means Liverpool won Champions League and EPL titles with Salah playing from that right wing with the so-called poor defender in the form of Trent Arnold-Alexander. I mean, if these guys were so poor, why didn't more teams take advantage of that? I don't see it happening. I think the attack of Salah and Trent at that time outweighed
I
any
think
defensive fragilities they may have
you,
had.
you're giving more credit to the intelligence of players and managers than probably is necessary. We've seen teams have glaring weaknesses and opponents fail to capitalize on them.
Correct,
So
correct. So that's what I'm saying. I don't really buy into that narrative. I mean, if it was so wide open, more teams would look to exploit in that regard. So yeah, for sure. But number of other games, Christoph, which have big implications at the top of the table. Arsenal is in action. Arsenal plays host to Fulham. You could say this is a London derby of sorts. And of course, Man City will play on Monday, so they would know the score from that game. Man City on Monday are away to Everton, Christoph. So let's just quickly look at these two games and give us your score prediction for this one. So Arsenal versus Fulham, Christoph. Do you see Arteta rotating, maybe starting a Norgard for argument's sake?
he's not going to rotate. The same. If anything, the only player I think he'll probably switch is maybe Martinelli or Madueke.
So
But
up in the attack then.
up in the attack is the only place there's going to be any sort of rotation. Back four will be the same. Declan Rice and Zuamende back in the midfield. Odegaard is probably going to start again, and then your rotation is going to be whether or not it's going to be Martinelli out on the left and Madueke on the right. Those are the only rotations
So
I'm
doesn't this
seeing.
game look like a prime game to get Saka back into the starting 11?
I wouldn't start him. I would bring him on to kind of don't risk a injury again. Bring him on second half, 65th minute. Tell Madueke to go all out for the first 65 minutes. Bring on Saka, 65th minute exactly, and he gets enough game time and minutes to kind of get going.
That
You
being
don't
said,
want.
though, that being said, what's the score prediction, Christoph? I mean, we're keenly focused on Arsenal, but I believe Fulham probably has something to prove as well. I mean, they can't be relegated, probably not going to get into Europe, so they are a team which is probably playing free with all the shackles off, just probably going out there and enjoying their football. A
Right.
team like that
I
can be very dangerous.
I expect Fulham to be very dangerous in this game. Like you said, and like I've said before, these teams that are not in danger of making of getting relegated and probably not going to get a European spot, they are able to attack and play however they want to play. They don't care if they win or they lose, so they can play anyhow they want. So these are the very dangerous games, especially for Arsenal, who is in a very precarious position. As it relates to scoreline, I can't say. I don't know which way the game will go.
I'm gonna go with a draw in this one, Christoph. I think
Uh,
Arsenal will drop more points. If Arteta starts that same midfield trio, I feel Fulham will take a fresh Fulham, an energetic Fulham, as I said, a Fulham which is probably playing without any of the shackles on. I'm sure they would love to play the role of spoiler in this one, especially in their backyard there in London. So I'm gonna go with a scoring draw. I'm gonna go with a 1-1 draw in this one, Christoph. I think Arsenal will drop more points in this game. So for
I
me,
mean,
it's a 1-1 draw.
I strongly believe Fulham has goals in them. I don't know if Arsenal has any goals in them though.
Mm.
Fulham has
Uh,
goals in them. I don't know if Arsenal has any goals in
Confidence
them.
waning there for Christoph, then a avid Arsenal fan. Confidence definitely waning. But what of the Man City game, Christoph? Everton
3
versus
0.
Man City.
3 0. 3 0.
3-0 for Man City.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's an easy call then for you.
Yeah. Easy. 3 0.
Wow, wow. That's a
No,
big
no,
call there.
nobody is going to offer any resistance to Man City for the remainder of the season.
Wow,
Guaranteed.
wow, wow. You
Man
have
City is
that much confidence in Man
Man,
City.
Man City is winning every game for the remainder of the season.
So are you therefore calling Man City to win the title and potentially the domestic treble?
And until mathematically they are getting it, the possibility is there for them to win the
No, but I
title
mean, if
still.
you're saying they're gonna win every game without much resistance, then it sounds as if the title is now gift wrapped for Man City.
Well, I guess we can call it that. Arsenal
So you've given
Arsenal,
up on
Mikel,
Arsenal then. It sounds as if you've
Arsenal,
given up on Arsenal,
yeah,
Christoph.
yeah, yeah. Arsenal, Mikel Arteta
Wow.
he let 15 points slip, then he let 9 points slip, and it's his own fault. Yeah, the players still have to go out and play, but you are the manager. Should have been rotating, keeping things fit. There were early signs that there were issues with the attack. You haven't worked on it. So yeah, Man City is going to win the title now. Arteta
Wow, wow.
allowing 15 points to slip, fine. You still had nine. Allowing the 9 points to slip is where it went. And I think the issue for them, and like I said, is the Carling Cup final. Arsenal and Arteta, um, they played that game as if they were gifting the win to Man City, in my opinion. Arteta waited until he was 2-0 down to try and change the game. And by that time, the game was gone.
Interesting
It
times ahead for
that,
sure.
yeah, that game felt like gifting Man City the thing. There was no resistance, in my opinion,
So easy win for Man City versus Arsenal come Monday then, Christoph.
against Everton. Yes.
Sorry, yeah, versus Everton. Okay, 3-0 is your call. I'm gonna go a bit
3-0,
more
easy.
conservative. I think Everton may very well get on the score
Uh,
sheet with their attack.
Everton, Everton
I'm
won't get
gonna
on the score sheet.
go I'm gonna go 2-1 Man City. 2-1 in favor of Man City for
Mm-mm.
that one. But Christoph, we have a couple more games. I just look to get your quick uh prediction for these one. These ones having to do with the
Brentford,
teams in relegation. Brentford versus West Ham to start off.
Brentford, Nottingham Forest, Brighton, Aston Villa, Sunderland.
Oh, you're calling Brentford to win
Yeah, I'm calling the wins.
versus West Ham.
Yeah,
Wow, wow, that's a big call there. I mean, and what about Aston Villa versus Spurs?
Villa.
Villa. So you're I mean, a loss for Spurs to Villa pretty much have one foot in the championship, Christoph. If in fact, let for example say results are reversed where Villa wins and West Ham actually beat Brentford. I mean, West Ham is playing this game away from home as to is Spurs, I believe, right? So Aston Villa host Spurs. Of course, Aston Villa was active over there in the Europa League, going 1-0 down to Forest. So you're saying Villa to win versus Spurs,
Yeah,
and you're saying
win or draw for Villa.
and Brentford to win versus West Ham.
Yeah.
What of Forest? Who Forest plays Chelsea. So Chelsea at
Um.
home to Forest come Monday.
So, so I want to say Forest, but given that Chelsea kind of have another new manager again, we don't know if they'll get a new manager bounce or if it's already all used up. But Chelsea has the worst form in the league at the moment, having lost all of their last five fixtures.
Right?
Um, so it could be that this is a game where they bounce back.
In fact, I mean, with Forest getting a win over Aston Villa in the Europa League, Forest should be bouncing, in all honesty. Forest should be full
Forest,
of confidence.
Forest could be bouncing, but also Forest could decide that Europa League is a chance at silverware. Let me rest my players,
Well,
or
I mean, mathematically, they're still not 100% safe, in all honesty. So at the end of the day, they still have to be
they're they're
wary of that.
they're not 100% safe, but no result is going to put them in the relegation right now.
Hmm. Well, that is true. I have a sneaky feeling Forest may get something from that game, Christoph, to be honest with you. I
Oh
would
well,
not count Forest out of that one.
I don't count them out. I lean towards Forest winning, but yeah, again, Chelsea caretaker manager, so
Oh, so
maybe a
you
new
lean
manager
towards Forest
bounce.
winning, but you're calling Chelsea to win.
But I think Chelsea might bounce back. This might be Chelsea's bounce back game.
Okay, I see. So of the teams currently fighting for relegation, you're saying none of the relegation bound teams will win this weekend. That's pretty much what your calls are
You're
suggesting.
right. I don't think any of them will get any wins. I think it will
Wow.
either be loss or draw for them.
Wow, wow, wow. That's a big call. That's definitely something we'll be keeping our eyes on going into this weekend. But things are definitely heating up over there in the relegation zone. And of course, there's a massive battle taking place at the top of the table as well. Man City versus Arsenal. But quick, Christoph, we are quickly out of time. Any final thoughts as it relates to these set of fixtures coming up in the EPL over the weekend? What's your final word?
I think definitely the relegation battles will definitely be the spectacle of the weekend. Obviously, Liverpool versus United is going to be the big match, and big implications. Although I think I've heard that slot will remain at Liverpool next season, so we'll see if him losing this game changes that. But I think it was reported that he is confirmed to be the manager next season.
Yeah. I've been hearing some rumors through the grapevine as well. I mean, but at this point, all it is rumors, and 5 days a week is a long time in football. I'm sure if you ask Rosinha, he would have been here to see Chelsea versus Forest, but he is no longer at the helm over there at Chelsea. So a
Well,
lot is happening in the EPL, Christopher. A lot
I
of
mean,
changes, a lot of football.
well, with in the case of Rosinha, you will have to ask him how the aging went while he was there over in Chelsea.
Well, that's a
'Cause
discussion for
I
another time,
I
but
heard I heard
we are
I heard
quickly
him
out of
say
time.
I
We
heard him
are,
say he was aging men, so I don't know how
we,
that aging went.
Yeah, we're gonna have to discuss it on the next podcast, Christoph, for sure. We are going to have to discuss Chelsea. We are going to have to discuss Arsenal, and of course, we have to discuss what's taking place over there at Manchester United. Will Carrick be given the opportunity to lead this team into a full season on the back of these impressive results? But viewers, subscribers, that is all the time we have. Thank you again for tuning in to us here on Beating the Press podcast. Of course, leave your comments in the comment section. Tell us your predictions as it relates to the relegation battle. Who will win the Man U versus Liverpool game? But until next time, viewers and subscribers, this is Rafa signing off.